All right, here we go. 305 Leland Live, talking to 5. I'm just now figuring out why Melania Trump opened up this IndyCar thing. It's because the CEO of Fox Corporation came and spoke as well, and they're pledging $2 million for a foster kid program affiliated with the First Lady. It's part of this whole IndyCar in the streets racing around DC thing. We're still celebrating America's 250. Hallelujah. So if anything else comes of the event, I didn't see Trump speak at all, which is stunning because he likes to talk to the TV cameras. But we'll continue to keep an eye on that in case there's any kind of news developed out of that. Ox Foundation Solutions bringing you the show this hour, oxstrong.com. These are my folks to come get under your house and tell you what's what, because most of us aren't going under there. You ever had to go under a house? It is. Even when it's not bad under there, it's bad under there. It's just, even if you're not claustrophobic. And I've got a tiny space. I asked them, they were out before looking at some things. I was like, how you going to get under there? I think it's only about 18 inches of clearance. He goes, oh, we got some skinny guys. I would not make it. I wouldn't make it. But this is the company that can get the water out, get the cracks fixed, get the shifts fixed, level your house, remove the mold, encapsulate, which is what they're doing for me, in everything, even the sidewalk and concrete leveling. Sometimes the things that will happen to sidewalks, you're walking down the street and you see a sidewalk just buckled or a concrete driveway that's slipping. Think about that and consider they can level that out for you to get rid of those trip hazards. And think about how that also works underneath your house. The same thing happens to your foundation. Shifts, cracks, things move. It's not supposed to, but it does. Let Ox get you square. That's what they do. Been on the show probably, I think, now more than a decade, and they're ready to come to your house too. Oxstrong.com, the best in the business. Let them help. Oxstrong.com. Let's get to a couple more stories because we were sort of thrown up by this terror investigation. But we also have a situation that I wanted to bring your attention to. These blueberries. I mean, it was lettuce. It was Taco Bell lettuce for a minute, and now we're dealing with this blueberry thing. And this one kind of hit a little close to home, as I love some blueberries. And
please don't tell me messing with the blueberries
dude,
now,
it's
man.
the blueberries now. I love blueberries.
Mm-hmm.
I used to eat them every single morning, especially in the summertime. They get a little tart in the winter because we have to get them from elsewhere, I think. But these in particular are from Publix. We do a lot of shopping at Publix. We kind of mix it up, but and I think they're the frozen ones. Some people will buy the frozen ones and just use them later. I mean, I go through the fresh ones so fast I don't even think about it. But yeah, so what was interesting about the blueberry thing was that I've never seen the CDC put out a warning as stringent as the one they put out for these blueberries. It was the FDA that put the warning out, and they said that these things were likely to kill you. It wasn't that you're going to get the runs for 5 days. I mean, it said likely death. Have you ever heard of a warning like that?
No, I mean, okay.
I mean, I'm sitting there reading along, okay, blueberries, it might give you the runs.
Right.
You might get
no sugarcoating it. Nobody from like a marketing team that said, hey, look, we need to put this out and put it in a way that it's not going to scare nobody. No, they said, no, we need to let people know you eat this, you're going to die.
They had said a high probability of death. It was I'm like, what? So if y'all been to Publix and you got these frozen blueberries, Alabama is one of the states on the list because Publix is primarily a southeastern brand. They're based out of Florida. I'll never forget, I had a roommate from Florida in college, and we had just met, and we were talking about where we worked, and I was telling him, I got a little job at a radio station. He goes, back home I worked at Publix. And he said, I worked at Publix. I said, what is Publix?
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard of it. I was a Winn-Dixie man myself. I'm a Piggly Wiggly guy. And he looked at me like I was nuts. He goes, you've never heard of a Publix?
Right.
So we don't have them, dude. We had one big old Kroger in the middle of Auburn. That's all we had.
Oh, I love me some Kroger's, man.
Kroger, man. But yeah, he was a Publix guy. And slowly, Publix has encroached all throughout the Southeast and done an amazing job. It's a good shopping experience. Mm-hmm. They do a pretty good job. And so they're among the states, of course, are Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, all the southeastern states all the way up to Virginia. But y'all go and throw those things out. They are the Green Wise, that what particularly they're showing are 2 packages on the story. The Green Wise whole berries and then the Green Wise whole mixed berries. There's a joke in that, but I'm not going to do it right now because these are serious times. So don't die, and don't get the Taco Bell lettuce runs, and don't die from blueberry poisoning.
There's going to be a point where you just can't eat nothing.
I'm just going to go back to eating those big old damn honey buns from the gas station because they ain't never killed anybody.
No, those things have been sitting there since 1952. I mean, look, they still look fresh.
They kill you slowly.
Yeah.
They won't. Blueberries might instantly kill you right now with Ebola or whatever they got in the fruit these days. But the other stuff's just going to slowly creep in on your life and take you out about 10 years early. I'm just saying.
And who's picking these blueberries? Because like they ain't washing their hands.
You want me to tell you the truth, AJ? The wash your hands thing. Trump should make you the ambassador for wash your hands.
Yeah.
Send your ass to the blueberry fields and start yelling at people with a bullhorn.
Because isn't E. coli like linked to like boo boo? Like no one like
it's doo doo germs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's
like
straight out the doo doo pipe.
Like someone's like washing their hands. They just go into the bathroom and just like, all right, where can I pick now?
That's exactly what's happening, AJ. In almost all these cases, it's unsanitary hand washing conditions by the people that have to do the picking by hand.
Nasty.
Or the packers. I mean, sometimes they've got machines that can pick these things.
But the machine ain't washing their hands as they go to the
no.
Little...
The machine doesn't take a dump. But when it gets to the packing factory, where they put them in the little boxes, there's Paco over there. He just dropped.
Paco's back in Mexico.
Paco just dropped a dose. Homan hadn't gotten to him yet. Did they call it dropping a dose? Hey, man, I got to do a number dos. AJ, you should go over there. I got Andrew's bullhorn. He does this.
Wash your damn hands, Paco. Paco, I'm looking at you. Pedro, you too. Luis, Jesus, wash them hands.
That'd be your whole job. You just run around and say,
step away from the blueberry patch. Wash your hands. Wipe that ass. Wash your hands.
And you get you get one shot. That's it. If I gotta tell you one more time, I'm on the phone with Holman and say, hey, I need you to round up some folks.
Don't just hit them with some water. You gotta sing Old MacDonald till you finish with the song. And that's how long you're supposed to wash your hands. Wash your hands. Old MacDonald heard our song.
we just solved the whole blueberry crisis. You're welcome, Publix.
Where shopping matters.
The thing about this is shopping is a pleasure. Unless you die. The thing about it is blueberries and produce, we don't cook it generally. I mean, I know y'all can saute some spinach when we get that every now and then, but the blueberries, you're not putting them in any, like, make a blueberry pie, I guess. So we're not putting any heat on it, and you've got to do some things to wash them. There are all these tricks. I saw a lady one day saying, "Don't wash the whole." When you get that little container, and I've had to think about this since I washed it. Instead of washing all the blueberries, that little white sort of film that can get on blueberries. You ever see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's natural. But you should wash them as you eat them. Like, get a batch of them, wash them, and don't wash that stuff off because they'll keep longer in the refrigerator. But make sure you do.
Oh, I watch. Look, if you go and get you some fruit, I don't care if it's prepackaged or whatever, and you don't wash your fruit, you're gonna be on one of these news stories talking about.
As germophobic as you are and fastidious about hand washing as you are, will you eat produce until this crisis is over? I just wonder how it's going to affect you. AJ's the kind of guy that will stand there. When we go out, AJ, if he can see him cooking his food in the back,
I'm watching.
He watches everything they're doing. He'll stand there and watch them. I'm like, hey, man, get my back too. I can't tell what you were looking for.
Yeah.
AJ watches them. That's one of the first things I noticed about you.
Well, I did that. Look, I had to do a work trip, and I was sitting at this restaurant. And I'm sitting there, and I order my food, and then I had ordered this sandwich, and I was watching. I'm watching because like everything's out and open, and I literally saw this dude take his hand, wipe sweat from his brow, then commences to take that same hand that he wiped his sweat from, and then just like bam, stick it into the chips and put it on the plate. And I was like, I bet you that's my food. Right
Is that
there.
when you got triggered?
Oh no, this is I got triggered. What really got me triggered was it was right before COVID had hit. Somebody was walking out of a big box retailer, and they were walking, and they sneezed.
Yikes.
And then when they sneezed, they covered their mouth, and then when they let their hands go, it was like the longest string of snot that just came off of it. And then instead of them like taking the cart and then like wiping it down, they just took their hands and then pushed the cart. And then I just got to thinking, I'm like, well, if they did that,
yes,
how many other folks did the same thing to that same cart? And all those carts, ain't nobody sat there and wiped them down or touched them. Like, nasty. Kids
think what we were picking up before COVID. Not that the COVID experience was proper or altogether necessary. However, we did learn some hygiene. You never saw somebody at the grocery store just wiping down the conveyor belt just constantly. I still see them doing that at some of the stores, which is great. There was some good that came out of it. But yeah, just be careful out there with the blueberries, because that was again, I've just never seen a stringent warning like that. I mean, there are other recalls today too with some food products. There's some kind of sourdough bread they're saying has some maybe some metal in it. There's some other products. I think there was one yesterday that had some glass in it. I heard Richard talking about that one. So just check yourself before you wreck yourself. Here's Bradley on a cell phone. What's up, Bradley?
What's going on, brothers?
Hey, man.
I had an apple one time. Actually, I said it one time. It was about, 4 or 5 months ago. And took it up to the barn with me, was feeding the cows and the horses and whatnot, and set it down and kind of forgot about it, Went back, a few days later, and I seen it sitting there. I was like, nothing's bothering my apple. Didn't think about it, got busy, kept on working. That thing sat there for 3 months.
Dang.
Through the heat.
Yep.
Nothing touched it. No rats, no mice.
Yikes.
Let the horse sniff it. No, he didn't want it.
Yep.
I said, I think I'm just going to throw this apple away. It never got a bruise, never got rotten, never got nothing. Always wondered about that.
They spray all kind of stuff on all that stuff before it comes to you, just to keep it alive to the market. You know what I mean? And
3 months.
We don't know what the hell. Yeah, I know.
Nothing.
And they're also genetically modified to survive.
It was like, oh, I'm sitting here.
So weird, man.
Why are you bothering me?
Get off me, man. I'm just an apple.
All right, that's all I got.
Thanks, brother. Go over there and pick on those chickens. They're crapping all over the place.
It's just me and my worm over here. We just chilling.
Joe's in Coleman.
What's up, Joe?
Yeah. I got a theory on the washing the hands thing.
Yeah.
And so, I heard an interview with Adam Carolla, and he talks about living in California. He talks about just being in the dirt, working up, in construction, stuff like that. You go to lunch, you maybe put some water on your hands or something, but then you're going to eating or whatever, and just kind of living in the dirt. Now his theory, he doesn't use soap hardly at all and takes a shower, but just rinses off. But my whole thing is, dude, you live in California.
True that.
If you lived where we live, you'd be taking 2 showers a day.
You can't get away
with
it
what I
here.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get away with that. But I do think there is something that, like, I wash my hands after I use the bathroom.
Right.
I wash my hands before I eat, and I wash like my vegetables off and my blueberries and stuff and my fruit and stuff like that. Other than that, I'm not washing my hands a lot. I think there's something to that. I mean, I think some of it. I got 3 kids, man, 3 young kids. And you know what? My wife said, something's on the floor. They pick it up and eat it, and she just freaks out. And I'm just like, forget about it.
I'll eat something I've dropped on the floor. I don't.
Yeah, but you ain't wiping your behind
That's
and then
right. Yeah,
touching food.
I know.
You ain't doing that.
No, I'm not saying. I think there is. There's just being nasty. After you use the bathroom, wash your hands.
No doubt about it.
But I do think we overdo it, and I think COVID caused us to overdo it a lot too. Look, I rarely get sick.
Well, there's a pediatrician down in Montgomery it's famous down in Montgomery. You'll see, you go down to Montgomery, you'll go out to dinner, even in the winter, and you'll see these little 2-year-olds running around barefoot in the winter. You're like, what the hell is going on down here? These people, they never heard of shoes. There's a well-known pediatric practice down there that advises mothers to let their kids go barefoot till they're 2 so they can pick up and be exposed to as many things as they can to build their immunity system. And a lot of folks down there do it. They abide by it.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
My mom used to work on the farm, and she used to do it. Now, she got ringworm and parasites a couple times.
That can happen.
They come
Look
in
out.
through your feet. But, after that, she didn't get it anymore. She was pretty healthy on throughout. And, so I think there is something to that. But, yeah, I think we wash our hands too much. I have to disagree with AJ to some extent. But
He's just saying,
just being nasty.
AJ's saying in food application and ass wiping situations, you're not talking about all day long, are you?
No, I mean, like, there's times where,
Thanks,
like,
Jeff.
I understand, like, if you know your environment, your surrounding cool or whatever.
Right.
I'm just not gonna eat after you. But like, but we're talking about people going to the bathroom and then walking out and then touching food that's being handled or that's going to be distributed out to the masses.
How about this little nightmare, AJ? Let me see if I can paint this picture for the audience. So the men's room up here on the 3rd floor in this building.
Oh yeah.
You got one stall, and then I think in most of them there's 2 sitters. There's two other stalls, but you got one urinal, right? So this literally happened to me one day. I think I talked about it on the air that day. I'm at the urinal, and men don't talk in the bathroom.
Right.
It's code. You don't do it.
We'll have a good conversation until we get to the door.
When you get to the door, you mind your business in the bathroom, eyes up, eyes up. So I'm at the urinal. I got my back to the room. I hear somebody over in the stall grunting, straining, and wiping and flushing, and I don't know who it is. I'm not going to say hello. That person walked behind me. I'm still taking care of business, AJ, and walked right out the door.
Nasty.
My problem was I didn't know who it was on our staff that did it. So the rest of the day, I was afraid to shake anybody's hand. I wouldn't even give somebody an elbow. I wouldn't even give them that chicken wing from COVID. I just avoid people. I gave them the high nod, like, what's up?
And be the main person that want to touch everything, just like all up in everything.
And then I thought about it, that it's like they touched the doorknob. I bet they had to pull that door. Ugh. Yep, people are nasty. All right, it's 3:22. I got to get caught up. Let's do the break. We'll come back. We'll go to the phone. Stay tuned. Yeah. Oh. Wonder what the name of this song is.
Hygiene.
Does he ever bust a rhyme at all? Here we go. Is this your ringtone now? Is this how you roll?
That's how. Yes.
You know, one of our listeners came to an event one time and literally gave us hand towels that said, "Wash your hands."
Mm-hmm.
Who is that? Is that one of your AI creations?
No,
that would be a theme song for your life.
It's a kid song.
Is that your walkout song if you became a baseball player? Kathy is on a cell phone. What's up, Kathy?
I'm just dying laughing driving down Highway 31 in Clanton.
Yep.
I have a grandson. I have a son who has a horse farm, ranch, whatever you want to call it. He has a 2-year-old that follows him around, helps him scoop, boot, that all the horses come in the barn and do. He has his own little scoop that he scoops boot with, just like his daddy's. And that baby has never been sick. That makes sense. Preemie.
Yep.
He was a preemie, and he's been in that barn since his mama rode horses when she was pregnant. He's been in that barn since he was born, and I think he's had one cold in 2.5 years. I have 5 other grandchildren from my other son.
Yeah.
Now they're not like neat freaks and they're not nasty as whatever, but they get sick at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
But that one who's in the barn all the time, he's just my son used to be a germaphobe. But it's kind of hard when you got as many horses as he does.
Yep.
To be a germaphobe.
You got some free range organic stuff going on, man. Yep.
Exactly. AJ, you got to get your hands dirty.
I get dirty, but I also clean myself.
You got to scoop some poop, AJ. We got to go to the horse farm.
I don't just like get dirty and be like, oh, well, I'm just going to start touching everything.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
We appreciate the story. Man, our generation is just tougher, man. Yeah. We grew up on hosepipe water and stepping in poop and not caring about these things. We also took Flintstone vitamins, which I think is what got us through COVID. Those little things, who knew our mom was right? Made us tougher than all these poons nowadays that have all these damn allergies. Can't drink milk.
Oh, well, y'all eat the boo-boo blueberries in.
I'm non-gluten. Back in a minute. It's 3:35, Leland Live, Pro Lift Garage Doors, the next sponsor up here on the show. We've got so many great home services companies here on the show, and I was glad to add Pro Lift. We've never had a garage door company at all, and I knew about Mike because I've been hearing him on Andrew's show and some of our other shows throughout the broadcast day, and I'm telling you, Mike's the man. He's got the company with the highest tech to come in and replace the whole door. You'd be surprised at how affordable that actually is. If yours is getting all dinged up, you just want a fresher look, maybe one that's quieter, that moves better with a whole new system, he can do it. But if you wind up in a lurch, and that can happen suddenly when a spring breaks or a motor burns out, there are times where you can't get in because you can't get it open, or you can't get out because you can't get it open, and sometimes it won't close. And he's told me, I asked him, I said, how many people back into doors? Because I've had neighbors to do it and others. Oh, yeah, he laughed. He goes, you'd be surprised how often that does happen. So don't sweat it. We've got Mike to handle these situations. It's a moving part of your house. It's going to wear out. It's going to have issues, and you need to let Mike and his team come and help. By the way, they're on the commercial side of that industry too, so they do the giant, big roll-up overhead doors. Same thing with the big commercial applications. He can handle all of it. So jot this down. You may be good to go on your door, but if something does happen, you need to know ProLift. It's ProLiftDoors.com, ProLiftGarageDoors.com. All right, let me switch subjects just real quick, and we'll get into some of the other things of the day. I noticed there's a weird angle on this Hayden, and I'm probably saying her name incorrectly. I know who the actress is because I love the movie Remember the Titans. When she was a little girl, she was in that film, and her name is Hayden Panettiere or Panettiere. Either way, we'll call her Hayden. Passed away this week. Tragic story. Had gone through some medical problems in her life after having a kid, which led to some pain situations, which led to addiction, which she was very forthcoming about. There are stories today about her team trying to intercede, trying to get her to get help. Somehow she winds up in an apartment in Greenville, South Carolina with two dudes, who I think one of which she was dating, and dies in the apartment. And so not a surprise that there could be even an accidental overdose in a situation like this. She wouldn't be the first celebrity where that has happened. But now we understand today the DEA is involved, and they're investigating her death. So you know what it sounds like to me, just guessing from the outside, is that this is like the Matthew Perry case, another famous star. Didn't he die in a hot tub, I want to say? They found him in a hot tub, and they wound up prosecuting his dealers because they believed they served him something or sold him something that was toxic. And I forget the details of how that story wound up. But it seems to be that the feds, at least, are on the same path with this case. Now, I'm okay with that, but here's the deal. Are we only going to go after the dealers that are directly connected to these deaths if it's a celebrity? I'm serious about that. If it's Matthew Perry or this young lady or some of these other high-profile cases, suddenly they're spending a lot of resources tracing back where the drugs came from in the beginning. What happens when the common person's found in the bushes down the hill here in Homewood, or when it happens on a routine basis around the city of Birmingham? Is there an effort, even a federal effort, to go after the dealers? The other question I had, again, I'm glad they're doing it. I want them to roll up all the bad guys they can, and I get it. I live in the real world. Publicity can drive these things. But I had a question, just, again, from my criminal investigative background of being in the news business. Why are the feds involved in the case of a death in South Carolina? It has to have a federal door to be open, which would mean cross-state drug transportation. There'd have to be maybe some mail fraud or wire fraud involved to draw them into it, unless there's a bigger ring that they're investigating that could be connected to this case. But I was a little bit surprised by that. Again, it's just a subtle commentary on the case, but I'm glad the FBI is getting to the bottom of it. I just wish we could do better with some of these other, when unknown people wind up at the hands of these predators on our streets dealing this stuff all over the country. And by the way, the access to some of the more dangerous stuff, part of the reason, there are a bunch of reasons we've had a massive drop in the crime statistics in the country. One of those clearly is the deportation of people that have criminal backgrounds. If you got less criminals, you're going to have less crime. Doesn't take a rocket scientist. Maybe if you got blue hair and you've been out screaming at ICE, you don't understand that. But for the rest of America, this show's mostly for the normies anyway. When you take criminals away from people, they can't hurt them. So that's been a factor. But I was digging into it to see if there are any underpinning reasons. Yes, incarceration is in vogue again. We're locking more just domestic criminals up too. But part of it that didn't get enough credit that I was discovering some reporting on today was the slight downturn. It's still flooding into the country in different ways, but the downturn in fentanyl and some of the other drugs that we're getting across the border. And remember the drug boats being blown up and the stuff that we're doing at sea, in addition to the tight border, that's had an effect on the murder rate. Not only that, probably the overdose rate and the exposure to some of these drugs to begin with. There's just a little bit less supply than there was. I don't have real numbers on it, but I was watching this reporting, and some of the violence that was part of the uptick were gang members and people involved in the commerce of the product killing each other. It wasn't just random people walking down the street like the stories we had in Virginia yesterday, where illegals just run up and stab somebody or kill them on a train, all these things we've seen lately. But it was thug versus thug over the drug trade, which we saw all through the 90s, leads to a huge escalation. It becomes tit for tat. There's no justice system in these crowds. They have their own justice system. And if one of your boys gets shot, you're out there looking for revenge. And it was spiking the crime rates, particularly in our cities. And some of that is tamed down because there's no product to fight over right now because the drug interdiction efforts have started to pay off. That's legit. That's a real side effect of blowing up drug boats. Good for the administration. All right, let's get Rick in here. He's been holding. We'll do some phone calls. Rick, what's on your mind today? Hey, Rick.
Yeah, I was just sitting there thinking about the demise of Christianity in the United States, and Islam's on the rise. This nation was founded on Christianity. This is the Bible Belt. We built the country around the Bible. This educated crowd is messing everything up, They come back from seminar. They come back from theology school or whatever, and they don't believe the Bible anymore. It used to be, when we had Bible-based churches, those preachers that took the place of the old, dying-out preachers were.
You all right, Rick? All right, buddy.
Well,
you okay, buddy?
I'm all right, I guess. I've just got a little stage fright here, I guess.
Oh, you don't have stage fright. Rick, you've called us before. I appreciate it, bud. Rick was a little hesitant, and I got to move on. Thank you, Rick, though. I get what you're saying. Yeah, look, we can put that at the feet of a lot of people. Here's the story. I'll just retell this. We'll go back to some stuff we were covering at the beginning. By the way, if you just tuned in, there was a terror bust in the state of New York. They got an Islamic woman. She's described as an Islamic woman who had sympathies with ISIS, plotting to blow up the New York State Capitol building and kill as many people as possible. She had plans to take her campaign to D.C. The Fed swooped in and busted her. She was procuring weapons. So it brings back up this Islamic terrorism threat that is only going to grow as that population grows here in the country. But then we got off into some of the other religious stuff. What I saw in this is just a life experience. This is not a study of demographics. It's just my own personal experience. I had never seen probably never been around anybody of the Muslim faith in my life until 1990 when I went to London, actually to live there right after college and get a job and do this student exchange thing and have a little cultural experience in a foreign country. I'd never been to a foreign country. So I wound up in London, got a little flat in a little area called West Acton, this tiny little room in a big old house with other people, and was trying to find a job. And when we went through the airport, I saw a heavy presence of Muslims, which was shocking to the country boy from Alabama. I expected, a lot of England to look a lot like America. They're just our sort of British cousins over there. But there was a heavy presence. And I noticed that on the way into town. And then as you go along, I noticed abandoned churches. One of the more fascinating things, if you're looking at architecture or how cities are built, especially cities as old as that, are the old churches and the old graveyards. I mean, with the dates on the tombstones that go back to 16 whatever and 15 whatever and even older than that. It's really amazing how old they are compared to our country. So I was taking it in. I was all of 22 years old, learning all this stuff. And I went back out to Heathrow Airport, and because I was trying to get a job out there, I thought, well, let me work for an American company here in the country. At the time, believe it or not, technically I was an immigrant. I wasn't immigrating there, but I had papers. I had permission. I had a work visa, permission to work there. But they were going through an economic downturn, and they did not like foreigners getting jobs. If a company had hired an American instead of a British person, they frowned upon that. So it was a little difficult, especially a kid who didn't have a whole lot of experience from back in the States. So I decided I want to go out to Heathrow Airport. I heard there were jobs out there for Americans to help people at the airport that are flying in from America. Makes sense. So I went out there to pursue that. Went to Heathrow. I remember I went up on one of the floors. This is back when you could walk completely through an airport. You could walk through a whole airport anywhere in the world especially before 9/11, all the way to the gate. And I remember I was up on a floor. It was the TWA floor. But at the time, TWA was having a lot of hijackings. The comedian Gallagher even called it travel with Arabs. He also said Delta stood for don't even let them aboard. I mean, it was just, those were the 80s. We could joke about this stuff. So, there was this crazy sound, and I've told this story over the years on the show. It was a call to prayer. I'd never heard that in my life. And all of a sudden, everybody around me on this floor, there were lots of Muslim people up there. By the way, there was armed security. I'd never seen that with automatic weapons up on that floor watching the TWA gate. That was where the flights back to the Middle East were going. So there was a whole floor full of people from that region, and everybody hit the ground and started doing the call to prayer. I didn't know what to do, so I just sort of ducked into a side shop. I think it was a little gift shop, kind of watched from a distance. I watched them do their call to prayer. I was fascinated and also frightened, not having seen that before, and kind of stunned that I'm watching this right in the middle of London, of all places. This was 1990. And what occurred to me then, looking at the abandonment of the old church buildings, there was an older lady that came up that was just surprised. She saw us doing a little blessing before we ate breakfast, and she was so sweet. And she was actually speaking French, but she was surprised to see two young people actually say a prayer in public. That surprised me that she was surprised, right? So what I deduced at a young age with this foreign experience was Islam is going to take this place over. And I remember saying that at the time. Had a conversation in a McDonald's with a Muslim guy. Actually, this was over in Paris. And I asked him, I said, as I'm fascinated with all this, not as well read as I am now about it. And I said, does your Quran tell you that I'm an infidel? And he said, oh, yeah. I said, does it tell you you're supposed to kill me? And he kind of smiled and looked down sheepishly and wouldn't look back at me, but he kind of nodded his head. He said, it does say that. I said, well, why don't you do it? He goes, I choose not to. So I understood then that they understand it and we don't. They understand their faith, what it commands. Peaceful people in their faith want no part of that, but they're dead silent when those that aren't peaceful commit these acts. They're dead silent. What they do all believe, whether it's through violence or running for office, is that you're there to conquer the infidels. It is your responsibility, if you want to go see Allah one day, is to conquer these other people, to enslave them, to make them yours, to cut their necks. Has a whole history, blade across the neck. That's why we saw ISIS doing the beheadings. The symbolism, the history of it, the text itself and everything connected to it. It's not something a bunch of white boys that are Christians in America just made up about a group of people. These are things they've been doing and believe and have pursued throughout their history on this earth. And you cannot remove that element from this group of people. It doesn't have to be all of them. It's just a percentage, just a portion. And by increasing that population, you're going to increase that number of people also that would subscribe to blowing up the state house in New York State. And this woman just decided she wanted to do that. We have ebbed and flowed with this whole subject. And one day maybe we can find peace about it. But it's going to continue to be a thing, and we're increasingly under threat. I wonder if this woman knew she didn't have to go and procure a bomb. She could just run for office. Democrats will put her on the ticket. They've decided that's their new thing. They would have put her on the ticket to be in the state house. She might have got a job in there. Then she could have done it from the inside. I'm not trying to give them any ideas. I'm just saying. Work Trucks bringing you the show tonight. TRUX, WorkTrucksLLC.com. WorkTrucksLLC.com. They've got your business truck, box truck, flatbed, pickup truck, vans of all types, cargo and passenger. And they're ready to go with financing, with extended warranties. They've done a lot of work to locate these things, pick them up at auction, get them at a good price, get them back here, go through them so they know they've got a good thing that's going to go to work and last. And that's a lot of time saving for you to track one of these things down yourself. Not to mention they're going to be at a discount because they're pre-owned. And they've done a lot of work to vet them to make sure you're getting good quality. It's a turnkey place to keep your business moving this year. TRUX, WorkTrucksLLC.com, downtown Birmingham, 3rd Avenue South, WorkTrucksLLC.com. All right, it's 3:56. Let's see if we can squeeze a couple calls in real quick, and then we'll get to the top of the hour. Jason is up next. What's up, Jason?
How are you this day?
I'm well.
Very good. I just have a few. I'll lay this out as quickly as I can. Okay, number one about shopping carts. Publix, I don't know if they still do this, but 2 years ago I know they were. They have all of their carts steam cleaned and maintained once a week. I met the man that does the job.
That's cool to
He
know.
brings a truck in at night, unloads a ton of shopping carts that have been cleaned and maintained, and picks up the ones that are at the store. That's why you usually go to Publix and you'll find your shopping carts are pretty clean. Second thing, most of us think about getting those little wet wipes when we go in a store to wipe down the handlebar of our shopping carts.
Yep.
But there's also a little place in the back of the shopping cart that folds out. Sometimes we put bread or other things up there. And most of them have a little plastic piece that folds out of the way so you can put your toddler up there. If your toddler is wearing
a diaper,
pamper,
yep, that's a poop trap. That is a poop plate.
Whatever oozes out of the sides, there it is, waiting for you to put your.
Hey, Joe, you freaked out right now? That's you got toddlers. You know what he's talking about. You got people in Pampers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
AJ's got pamper people at home. He knows.
And the young lady that you mentioned who was found, deceased. I never object to a good conspiracy theory, but I did hear that she had recently been making television appearances and such, talking about some of the things that Hollywood and the movie industry had done to her and other young girls, and talking about trafficking. So that's coincidental. I don't know. I
saw a clip on that. Hey, thanks, Jason. Good call, man. I did see a clip on that where she talked about being, she felt like she was drugged on a boat and somebody tried to put her with a British music celebrity. And then shortly after that, she dies. I mean, look, that could be a coincidence, too. She was in that world. Bob in Trussville, I got a minute. Go, man.
I got 60 seconds. Let's go. Kind of a follow-up to what you were talking about earlier and what your caller that had stage fright or whatever was talking about. The Muslims and the Chinese, people need to understand, they play the long game.
Yep.
They did not get into this to do something in 5 or 6 years. They did not take over the Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter did not give that to them with the intentions of doing everything in the next few years. It was to play out a 50, 60, 70-year scenario. They think the long game, and we have to understand that is an intention. That is an intention of both of those groups. And until we understand that, then we're in a difficult situation.
No, yeah. Americans have the attention span of a goldfish, and will overturn the government because gas prices are too high over a summer. That's where we are. We're not thinking long term.